Hey, how's it going out there today, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. Coming to you from very, very early in the morning. Want to talk about reefer today. I often talk about the good side of reefer, but today's video, not to bum you out, but today is about the realities of the negative side of reefer freight. Now, I don't want to turn you off from it. I'm not trying to put you on it. Just like when I'm talking good about it, I'm not trying to put you on. I'm not trying to put you off. I'm trying to inform you. I often say there's a freight for every personality. For me, reefer does not bother me that bad. A lot of these things that we're talking about here, I've just learned to deal with them. Living in Minnesota, I feel like reefer fits me very well because I don't mind the wait times and a lot of that stuff. And in Minnesota, in the winter, we get protect from freeze loads, and that helps reefer rates in the winter. A lot of things that we're going to dry van in the summer just can't go on a dry van in the winter in Minnesota. So, anywhere you get cold weather. So that helps reefer rates out in the winter. So that kind of helps me. If you live in an area that's more flatbed oriented, more dry van oriented, you probably do better with that. Like I say, find the freight that fits your personality too. So let's get into it. I've got about, 7, 8, 9, 10 things here I want to go over and talk about in this video. So the first negative that most people will point to in the reefer game is those grocery warehouse, grocery store wait times, baby. Come on. With a wait time to get unloaded. They tell you show up at like disappointment right now. I'm at an appointment waiting to get unloaded. The appointment time was midnight. Flatbeds, you're not going to see many midnight appointment times. And this is common in reefer. They like to unload the reefer unit. Typically, they like to unload between like 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. They like to unload them at night. There's a couple reasons behind this. Number one is it's cooler out. So, the reefers aren't, they're not struggling taking the load off. Because sometimes they don't have great seals around those dock doors. And, your reefer unit runs pretty hard to keep up. So they like to do it at night. Also, they bring the loads in and then they break them down, and they typically load their trucks early in the morning or in the afternoon and send them out overnight to the grocery stores. For you guys that don't know, grocery distribution works like this. You bring a whole truckload of, let's just use for an example, you're a reefer driver like me personally. Say I bring in a load of grapes. Well, every grocery store doesn't need a load of grapes. They send it to the distribution center, and then that load of grapes gets broken down into probably 50 different pallets, and then they send a pallet of whatever, or a few boxes of whatever out to each grocery store chain they service. That's how that works. So they want to load their trucks in the afternoon and or in the morning and send them out. So wait times can be a beast. I've had wait times over 24 hours in reefer. I was at a US Foods yesterday. Had a guy in a dry van there delivering. He was at the window going ballistic because he had been there for 2 hours. Probably doesn't run much stuff to grocery warehouses. 2 hours is like that's their gimme. Like they're not, that's nothing to them. They're like, you've only been waiting 2 hours and you're up here complaining? You must not be a reefer driver. Another one is wait times, bummers. And they just are. I'm reading the reviews of the place I'm at right now. It's brutal. I'm seeing like some people saying just for a few pallets, 8 hours to unload, count the product, and get your paperwork back to you. So let's move on to another one that people complain about a lot. I like these guys. I don't complain about them. Lumpers. If they didn't do the job, I would have to do the job. If you don't understand how lumpers work, if you're somebody that says they charge me this amount to unload my trailer, go watch my video on lumpers. Just go go to my channel, search lumpers. I got a video about it. It explains how lumpers work. If you think they're unloading you to unload, they're charging you to unload your trailer, you got the whole dynamic messed up. And I know a lot of people hate me because of my lumper video, because it cracks too much knowledge on them and they can't handle it. They want to argue about things. I'm sorry, that's the definitive lumper video on YouTube. I'll tell you that right now. If you don't understand lumpers, number one, they're not charging you to unload anything. You've got a raw deal if they're charging you. They're charging the shipper. The only beef I got with it is I shouldn't be involved in the transaction. You shouldn't be looking for the driver to get you a check, a code, nothing. The broker, the shipper should pay that to the lumper service without me being involved. That's my only beef with lumpers. All right, number 3 on the list. Number 3, appointment times. I kind of worked that in earlier with the wait times, but that's just how it is. Appointment times, they're going to be god awful. I mean, like I said, they want to unload between 9 p.m. and then you get unloaded at 2 in the morning, and then they turn you loose at 2 in the morning and pray to your deity that you can find a parking spot at 2 in the morning. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's talk about the trailer. A lot of people don't like reefer because of a couple things. I've heard a lot of people on YouTube say, oh, I don't like it when a reefer driver parks next to me. I tell them, hey, there's a quick cure for that. Stop eating fresh food. If everybody would stop eating fresh vegetables and fresh food, we wouldn't need reefer trailers. It's that simple. That's never going to happen. So you just got to deal with it. They're getting quieter. The newer ones are quieter. It's like, I don't know, to me, if you're a truck driver and the wind rocking the truck or a little noise outside keeps you awake, especially if it's steady noise like a reefer, I don't know, maybe you're going to have a hard time being a truck driver, because truck stops are loud. That's just the way they are. So reefer noise, that's a big one. A lot of people don't like it. To me, if you got a diesel powered APU on your truck, it's just like having a reefer on your truck. To me, the noise is the same. I think reefers actually are quieter than APUs in most times, because the exhaust is pointed up out of the top of the reefer, whereas an APU is like right next to, the exhaust comes out like right near my sleeper. So that's the problem with the reefer noise. Another one with the trailer. Another one is reefer responsibility. If you like flatbed, you're going to have securement responsibility. If you like dry van, you put a load lock in that sumbitch and you go. And I'll be honest with you, I see a lot of guys pulling up with box trailers with no securement at all in them. I don't care if I'm hauling the most uniform pallets and they're heavy and they're very well shrink wrapped. The law requires you to have securement. You got to at least put a load lock or a strap on it every load. That's just, I'm just putting that out there for you. But not only that, but when you get these multiple stop loads, you got to get in there and take your load bar down, put it up, take it down, put it up. It's just the way, it's part of the job. Now I will say this, I don't let grocery warehouses, I don't let lumper services touch my load locks. I take them down, I get them out of their way, because let me tell you, they'll run them over with the forklift and bend the feet on them, and I can hear it when they take them down. They throw them as hard as they can. They hate the fact that you didn't take that down for them, and they punish your load lock for it. But what I mean by reefer responsibility is you are responsible for that unit. You're responsible for the settings, the temperature, the working condition. You're responsible for that as the driver. If you pick up a load and it's a frozen food load, and you don't, and the bill says -10, and you forget to turn the unit on, and cover your butt. CYA. Always go by what the bill of lading says. And if the bill of lading is different than what the broker told you or your dispatch told you, you call that in immediately. Do not risk that. Like a lot of times what I do is, if I pick up a load from the broker and the temperature says anything different than what I was told or the bill says, do not. I take a picture of that bill and I send it to them immediately. I'm not being responsible for a lost load. So that's another one. Keep it on with the with the load part of it and the trailer part of it. Let's talk about trailer washouts. You hauled that load of bulk chicken blood pouring out of the drain holes on that bad boy, and you got a tight schedule, and you got to be down the road to pick up a load of bread, frozen bread, or fruit or something. You got to get that trailer washed out. And you don't always just pull up to the Blue Beacon and say, hey, I need a washout. Sometimes you will sit there for 2 or 3 hours. That's the key thing in reefer that I think equalizes reefer. Reefer pays more, but you're not going to get as many miles typically, because you're going to be waiting longer at the shipper. You're going to be doing things like trailer washout. You got to stop at least, like if I haul like a load of palletized, TV dinners, I at least got to get in there with my leaf blower or a broom and get it broom swept condition, for the next load. You don't have to get a washout between every load, but you want that thing to be in food grade quality. Like if I haul a load and it's like prepackaged food and I'm going to pick up another load that's prepackaged food, a washout's not required in between, but you want it to be clean. You want it to be presentable for your customers. And that you will waste some time with those trailer washouts. You will. I don't care what nobody says. Let's get on to the type of loads you haul. Multiple stop loads. Multiple stop loads are a big thing in reefer. You definitely do more multiple stops with reefer than you do any other kind of trucking. It's just the nature of the beast. You know what I mean? Like, it's perishable food. It's not like dry-van where, if a grocery store chain orders a truckload of rice, bring it all to them at one time. You know what I mean? Like, it can sit there in the warehouse till they, till they need it. It's not perishable. When you're bringing something that's perishable, like fruit, you can't just bring a whole truckload sometimes. Sometimes, like, you got to split that one load between 3 or 4 warehouses, So a lot more multiple stop. If you're not a multiple stop guy, you don't want to deal with the logistics of multiple stops, reefer's probably not for you. The load I got on right now, 1 pickup, 7 drops. 7 drops. Count them. 1 pick, 7 drops. So if you're not into logistics like that and having to deal with like stuff like that, reefer's probably not for you. Let's see. Let's get to the customer side of it now. We're winding it down. I went through the majority of them, If you got any questions about any of these, by the way, just leave it in the comments section. I get to the comments quicker than I'll get to an email. And plus, there's other people that can help you out if you leave comments. And while I got you there, hey, why not hit the like button while you're here and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Think about it at least. Check out the description. I got stuff down there like ways to save on fuel, stuff like that. So let's get to the customer side of it. We've already talked about the wait times and the appointment times, stuff like that. I'm talking about the actual customer's facilities. Staging areas. Who's a fan of a staging area? I kind of am, I kind of ain't. I'll be honest with you. I like the fact that I can show up a little early and not be like turned away at a gate because they got a little area for me to park in. Those parking areas can get dangerous as far as the traffic. People in a hurry, they get that fear of missing out. This guy's going to get in front of me and get unloaded quicker. They get that anxiety and they start acting like idiots in some of these staging lots. I noticed this a lot this past fall with the food shortages, especially down in Texas. I think when they got the snow in Texas. I went down there after that. It was brutal at some of these grocery warehouses, how crazy people were acting. So keep that in mind in staging areas. Today, I was at US Foods, the one I was talking about earlier. They didn't even want you to pull up to the gate. They wanted you to park at the staging area. Give them a phone call. They'll call you. You don't call them. They'll call you when they're ready. That's how a lot of these places are. And they put you in that staging lot. It's kind of like purgatory a little bit. So, like I said, that's just more waiting. Reefer, that's the ongoing theme in Reefer is sit around and wait. Hurry up and get there. Sit around and wait. All right, staging areas. Most Reefer places have a staging area. Walmarts don't. I'll complain about Walmart a little bit on that. Keeping on with the customers. Let's see here. We got meat processing plants. If you're going to haul reefer, chances are you're going to pull some meat. And meat doesn't always come from a warehouse. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Excuse me. The meat in the grocery store comes from animals. I know there's some people out there that didn't know this. It comes from animals. Those animals have to be processed. And by what I mean by processed is killed and cut up into pieces. These processing plants, it's hard to schedule for them. I know when you show up, they give you an appointment for 2 p.m. They got to get it all lined up. Like, if something breaks in the plant, they're held up. If the truck bringing in the livestock's held up, then they ain't got the livestock to process. It is a needle they are threading having your loads done. So don't be surprised you show up at a meat processing plant and you're there for 10 to 20 hours. It seems to me chicken processing plants are the worst at this. I think it's just because of the high number of animals they process. One little glitch in the system and before you know it, the whole matrix is down. So, and these plants, they typically don't smell that great. There's a lot of death in the air around those places. Again, if you don't like it, stop eating meat. But I'm a meat eater, so I deal with it. But good weight loss program. Go to a pig processing plant and sit there for 8 hours. You won't get hungry. More than likely, you won't get hungry during that 8 hours. You drop a few lbs doing a lot of meat loads. It's a waiting game in a lot of meat processing plants. There again, the theme comes back of waiting. Let's see what else we got. The smell at the processing plants. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. It's part of the game. If you're going to do reefer, and that's what I'm making this video about. It's not to run you off, but it's to take that bright, shiny finish off. Because let's face it, every kind of trucking's got its drawbacks. There is no perfect kind of trucking. Like I say, you got to find the kind that fits your personality. So that's meat processing plants. You're going to deal with a lot of that. I would also put in there, side note, produce. A lot of times you show up to pick up a load of produce and it's still in the field. And they still got to pick it, put it in a cooler to cool it down, to a reasonable temperature, and then load it on your truck 7 hours later. It's a bummer. I've picked up cucumbers one time that were like 100 degrees, and I had to take them to a cooling processing plant where they spray water in my trailer. They spray cold water in my trailer onto the produce to cool it down. I mean, it's just little extra things like that you're going to deal with. Did they pay me any extra to do that? Nope. They were like, either you want the load or you don't. A lot of meat processing plants are 4 hours before they start kicking into tension. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So it's like, yes, reefer's going to pay a little bit more than dry van, but you're not going to get as many miles in as dry van. So, think of it like that. You're going to get more done with dry van. It's like, what fits your personality better? Do you have the patience to wait 20 hours at a shipper? Because, I think I had a 26-hour wait time last spring at a place. You make up your mind. You figure out what you're going to do, if you're going to stay, if you're going to leave. But just be prepared for a lot of waiting. And let me see here. Another thing at the shipper you're going to have to worry about is when they put that freight back on your trailer. Rejected loads. In the reefer game, we got a little term we call OSD. Overages, shortages, and damages. Now, if the lumper service damages 5 boxes of mashed potatoes, chances are that's going back on your trailer. Now, I don't think this process is right. I think if I left with a sealed trailer and I show up with a sealed trailer and no pallets have been tipped over, but yet there's 5 damaged boxes on there, I don't think it should be my problem, but a lot of times it is. Back last summer, I think it was, I had 216 pounds of bacon rejected. It was like 24-pound boxes, and there was a lot of them. You know what I mean? Like 10 plus boxes of bacon. Now, the broker and the customer's not going to let you take that bacon home, which I wish they would have. You can go back and watch that video. I made a video about it. I was like 10 miles from my house. Boy, I could have stocked my freezer, my in-laws. I could have stocked everybody I know's freezer with bacon. But no, they want it donated to a charity, and they want a receipt from it before they'll pay you for that load, because technically, now they did add a stop pay onto that. And a lot of times you can negotiate a stop pay because that is an extra stop. But the customer won't take it because they're not going to pay for it. The receiver won't. I had a Costco reject a pallet of almond milk for possible damages. It wasn't even damaged. The shrink wrap had almond milk on it from like the factory, and they were like, "Hey, that could be damaged. We're not touching that." I had to take a whole pallet of almond milk to a charity. I got a stop pay, but wasted half of my day doing that. So overages, shortages, and damages. Shortages are probably, if you're going to have one of the three, you won't know none of them. You won't know OSD. I like to text my brokers or whoever booked a load for me. I like to text them when I'm done. No OSD. That means boom, clean bills. We're good. We're out. We're done. It don't always work like that though. But I guess if you're going to have one, shortages is the best, especially if it's a sealed trailer when you leave and it's a sealed trailer when you show up. They know you didn't open the trailer. That means the shipper shorted something. Overages can be a beast. Like I said, you may have to go donate that. Damages can be a beast, because if it's not too damaged, they'll want you to donate it. If it is too damaged, then they make it your responsibility. They're like, just throw it in, just get rid of it. And I'm like, oh yeah, let me unload 400 pounds of product. Where am I going to put that, number one? So I was in Houston earlier in the year. I had some product that was an overage. I don't know, it was like 10 cases of something. Luckily the customer let me throw it in their dumpster. But if not, last spring, I had like a lot, like 500, 400 pounds of mashed potatoes rejected. I had to pile them. I had to go pick up a load, and there was no truck stops, no dumpsters. I had to pile them up here in the cab of the truck until I could find a dumpster later that day. Had to go pick up a load and then find a dumpster to get rid of the rotting mashed potatoes. Now, they weren't like, they had just come out of the cooler, so they weren't rotten. But, I had to figure out a way to get rid of that. They make a lot of that your responsibility. It's not cool. Occasionally you get lucky, like the product in Houston. I kept a case of that. They said throw it in a dumpster. I said, hey, it's in a dumpster. I kept a case of it and ate on it. Sometimes you get a win like that, but it's not very often. So there you go, guys. Those are kind of my list of negatives. I call them the cold hard truth of reefer. Just stuff to think about if you want to do reefer. Put some thought into it. Don't just jump into it. Think about what you want to do. Think about, can I handle a 10-hour wait time? Can I handle like an average 4-hour wait time? Because that's about average, I think, in reefer, about 3 to 4 hour average. Occasionally you get that one place, like if it's under 2 hours in reefer, hell, you think you've won the lottery. Yeah, there it is, guys. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I really do. Thanks for watching. Take care of each other out there. Watch one of these other videos if you want to learn more from Cash is King. Thank you. Bye.